All right, so in this section of the challenge, you are going to choose one of the patterns so that we can have an office carpet, and then you are going to create a table for the perimeter and area of these figures being enlarged. So first of all, go ahead, go to your notebook on page 6. So after your geometric figures notes, go ahead, turn to page 6 of your notebook, and write this title down. Area and perimeter of enlarging tile patterns, filling out a table. So pause the video here until you finish doing that, and then you can move on. Okay, so the very first step is you actually need to choose one of the tile patterns provided. So if you look on Dream See Do, there are 6, A, B, C, D, E, F. And we're trying to make a carpet for the office. And so it's up to you to choose which design you feel like you would prefer. So for this example, I'm going to choose letter A, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and select letter A. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this pattern and I'm going to go ahead and draw it out in my notebook. So you can take your pattern that you choose and put it into your notebook. Make sure when you're drawing this in your notebook that it's accurate, okay? It's really important that you get the number of tiles correct, because if you don't, your tables will be incorrect. So go ahead and draw, pause your video here and draw the first 3 figures in your notebook of the design you chose. And then when you're done, you can move the video on. Okay, so this is again, very important that you get the sizes of these right. So as you can see in this particular pattern I chose, the first figure is just 1 square tile per row. And then the second figure, the number of tiles increases. So instead of just being 1 square tile, now becomes 2 tiles by 2 tiles. So each square is composed of 4 square tiles. And then figure 3 becomes 3 tiles by 3 tiles. So as hopefully you can start seeing a pattern, you should be able to draw figures 4 and figure 5. So in your notebook, after figure 1, 2, and 3, go ahead and try to see if you can sketch figure 4 and figure 5 of your design. So whichever one of these you chose, as you can see each design, there's a pattern happening with the tile pattern. So go ahead and see if you can draw the 4th and the 5th figure of your design. So just a quick example. I know that my figure looks kind of like this F. It has these 3 square tiles. And then 2 square tiles. And then 1 square tile. And then because it's a figure 4, these now become 4 by 4. So I'm going to insert line. Oops. Sorry. Okay, well, I'm going to just do this. So now instead of being 3 by 3s, I get tiles that are 4 by 4s. So I'm not going to do the whole thing here, but hopefully you can see and like kind of see what I'm doing. Make this larger. So in your notebook, hopefully you're able to do this as well. You don't have to draw it really large, just make sure the number of tiles is accurate. That's really the most important part here. What pattern is happening? How can you show that with the way you're drawing the tiles? So as you can see, right, this tile right here now becomes a 4 by 4. And I would, if I were to complete this, I would keep doing it for all 6 of these squares. So go ahead in your notebooks, try to draw figure 4 and try to draw figure 5 of your design that you chose. And then when you're ready, you can start up the video again. Okay, so now that you have the 4th and 5th figures of your design, you're going to create a table that records some data about these tile patterns. So the very first table you are going to create, go ahead and draw it. The first row should have, so it should have 2 rows and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7 columns. So 2 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 columns. So on the first row here of the first column, you're going to go ahead and write figure number. And in this row right here, you're going to write the perimeter. Okay? Then, you're going to go ahead and fill out your table. So for the very first figure, figure number 1, you're going to go ahead and write the perimeter of that figure. So if you don't know, the perimeter is the distance around a 2-dimensional object. So if you look at figure 1, and let me zoom in here so you can see it. In this table, go ahead and write perimeter in units because we don't have specific units we're writing. Okay, so the perimeter of figure 1 is we're going to count the number of units that is around this object. So I'm going to take a highlighter so you can kind of see what we're doing. So if you look at the very first image, okay, here, let me zoom in first so you can see the first figure. And I'm going to go ahead and highlight it with a pen. The perimeter will count up the number of units that are around this image. So here's 1, right? Here's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So the perimeter of this design, figure 1, is 12 units. So we can record that in our table. Perimeter is 12 units. Okay? You can do the same thing for figure number 2. So let me show you figure 2 as an example. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So the second figure's perimeter is 24 units. So figure 2, 24 units. So you're just going to keep doing that for figure 3, figure 4, figure 5, and then see if you can figure out what it is for figure number 20. So as you can see, we didn't draw figure number 20, right? We just went up to figure number 5. I would like for you to think about if there's a shortcut, if there's an easy way of figuring out the perimeter of figure number 20 without drawing it. So spend some time, count the perimeter of figures 1 through 5, and see if you can figure out the perimeter of figure number 20 without drawing it. And once you're finished with that, you can keep the video playing for the next part. Okay, so hopefully you were able to figure out the different perimeter measurements of all your figures. And if not, you can come ask me for help in workshop. The next table we're going to make after the perimeter table is an area table. So you're going to create a similar table you're going to go ahead and insert or draw a table. Sorry, let me fix this. Okay, there you go. You're going to go ahead and create a table with the same number of rows and columns. So 2 rows, 7 columns. And this time, instead of figuring out the perimeter of our shape, we're going to figure out the area. So figure number and area in square units. So in case you don't know, the area of a figure is the number of square units that fill up your region. So for example, let me do an example. This, in figure number 1, one of these smaller squares is 1 square unit. So if I look at figure number 1, let me shade that in. One of these squares right here is 1 square unit. So to find the area, I have to count how many square units are in my figure. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So this first figure has an area of 6 square units. So I can go ahead and put that 6 square units. Okay. Same thing with figure 2. You're just going to count up how many square units there are. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So figure 2 has 24 square units. So you're going to do the same thing you did with perimeter, except instead of finding the distance around the object, you are finding the number of square units inside of the figure. So you're going to do that for figures 3, 4, and 5. And again, you don't have a picture of figure 20, but I'm challenging you to try and see if you can still find the area of what figure 20 is. Can you predict what that area is going to be? So go ahead, pause the video here, try the design you chose, try to find the area of all the figures you have in square units and record them in your table in your notebooks. Once you're finished with this, take a picture of your notebook and go ahead and upload it on Dreamseedo.